We are looking at Ford A now. We are south of the Ford. You can see Reno Creek, and go back to the east here. Reno Creek, the cottonwood trees, moving left to right. And as we get down in this area, you see a lot more trees. This is the Little Bighorn River, the confluence of Reno Creek and the Little Bighorn River. And you can see the river loop there. And if we come around, you can see another part of the loop right here. So basically the river comes in, makes a big loop, comes around, makes another loop. It's going up that way. So Reno arrives at this location with his attack orders to cross the river and actually attack into the Little Bighorn Valley. The Indian village is up to the north somewhere. Cook and Keogh have followed, and they're talking with Reno while he is getting his men across the river. And basically Cook is reiterating that what Custer said. Custer said that Reno would be supported by the whole command. Reno expects Custer to reinforce him from the rear, but that is not going to happen, as you will see later on. So Reno has his men water their horses in the river, and they go across into the Little Bighorn Valley, and they reform, and Reno crosses as well. At this point, Miles Keogh, the captain of Company I, he turns around and he goes back east towards Custer, possibly to give him some information, just let him know how Reno's doing. Some other areas of interest I want to point out. Custer at this point is back at the North Fork of Reno Creek, which is way back in this area. There's an area down there called the Flat as well, and Custer's just hanging out back there. So Reno crosses and he begins his attack. Cook is sitting here just kind of viewing the situation when a rider who was in the valley recrosses the Little Bighorn and comes up to Cook. Now the rider is a civilian. It's the interpreter or guide. The guy's name is Fred Gerard. Now Fred Gerard has crossed at his own volition. He has come out into the valley here, the Little Bighorn, and he sees a lot of Indians, a lot of warriors. So he had come back and recrossed the river just to tell Cook that yes, there are several warriors, a large number of warriors, possibly in force in the valley. Cook tells Gerard that he will inform Custer at once, and then Gerard turns around, recrosses the river to rejoin Reno. And as all this is going on, there's some firing right around this Ford A area. That was the gunfire that Benteen had heard back at the morass. And it shows you exactly how far apart the commands are now. Benteen is back at the morass at this time. It's around 3 o'clock. And Reno's already up here, and there's gunfire. At least one Indian was killed down here at the ford. His name was Deeds. He was killed probably by the scouts before Reno got his battalion across the river, but there has been gunfire here. So anyway, Cook turns around after receiving the information from Gerard, and he heads back up toward the area of the Flat and North Fork of Reno Creek to inform Custer of the situation. Custer begins to move a little bit closer down to Fort A here. He forms an advance detail of Company F men, and probably William Van Wyck Riley was the officer in charge of the Company F detail. We will never know because everybody was killed with Custer. But anyway, an advance detail was created. We know that through the testimony of some of the survivors. And they're kind of acting the same way the Company H detail, advance detail, worked during the Benteen Scout. They're going to move in front of the Custer Battalion and basically scout the area before Custer gets there. We're definitely in combat conditions. There is definitely firing going on. Indians are in the area in force based on what Gerard said. So Custer can expect an attack. So the advance detail is going to be in front of his group, in front of his battalion, and hopefully we'll see danger before the whole command is, placed in peril or any danger. Custer has the advance detail leave the Flat and actually start moving up to the bluffs. So they're not following Reno Creek and crossing at the river and basically getting behind Reno to help reinforce Reno. The advance detail is ordered up to the bluffs, and they do go up there. And right here, you see this white area in the bluffs? Right above that, right on the horizon, that is Reno Hill. Custer waits for the advance detail to get up there on the bluffs. The advance detail does get there. They ascertain that it is safe, and they wave the command on. So Custer and the 5 companies do not go down to Reno Creek. They move off the trail and they go up to Reno Hill, at least around Reno Hill, and then they continue further along down the bluffs to an area closer to Weir Point on the bluffs, and are able to look into the Little Bighorn Valley and see the village and see Reno's attack. While all this is going on, Reno has dispatched 2 of his 3 couriers back to Custer. The first courier is Private Archibald McAlerkey of Company I. He recrosses here at Ford A, and he moves down Reno Creek and ends up linking up with Custer's battalion probably before they got to Reno Hill, up to the bluffs. And his information just basically mirrors what Gerard had said, which is Indians are in force in my front. A few minutes later, another messenger from Reno, Private John Mitchell of Company I, crosses at Fort A here and moves up to the bluffs and also links with Custer and just informs Custer that the Indians are actually coming out to meet the attack. At this point, Reno still has 1 courier left, Private Edward Davern, and he is remaining with Reno at this point. So now we will move on down to the next segment, which will be the Reno Valley fight.